Marcus Hale had cleared dozens of abandoned sites in his 15 years as a construction foreman. Broken walls, twisted rebar, cracked foundations, he had seen it all. When his crew pulled up to the vacant lot on the edge of Millbrook that Tuesday morning, it looked like every other forgotten project he had ever demolished. A half-finished shell of a building, weeds pushing through the concrete, a site that the city had simply stopped caring about years ago. He gave the order. His crew fired up the equipment, and for the first hour, everything went exactly as expected. Then Ethan stopped. Ethan was 22 years old, 3 weeks into the job, and still the kind of worker who listened to things the veterans had learned to ignore. He cut his jackhammer and held up a fist. The crew went quiet. He pressed his ear flat against the concrete slab. Something was scratching, faint, slow, but deliberate. Something was alive under there. Before we reveal what Marcus and his crew pulled out of that slab, please leave a like and subscribe to ANIMORA. Now let's get into the story. Nobody knew the full history of the Millbrook site. The building permit had been revoked several years earlier, a financing dispute, a developer who disappeared, a project that simply stopped mid-construction and was never touched again. The city had fenced it off, tagged it for eventual demolition, and moved on. For years, it sat there collecting weeds and weather while the neighborhood around it went about its business. What nobody knew, what nobody had any reason to suspect, was that the concrete slab covering the lot's foundation wasn't just a slab, it was a lid. Marcus had his crew work carefully once Ethan raised the alarm. They chipped around the edges first, mapping the cavity beneath before committing to a full break. What the ground-penetrating scanner showed stopped the foreman cold. There was a hollow space beneath the slab, roughly the size of a suitcase, and the thermal reading inside it was warm. It took them 40 minutes to open it cleanly without causing a collapse. When the last section of concrete came free and the light hit the pit for the first time, every man on that crew took a step back. A single paw reached up through the gap, trembling, deliberate, reaching toward the light like it had been waiting for exactly this moment. Captain Olivia Chen of the Fire Rescue Unit arrived within 12 minutes of the crew's call. Her team worked quickly, lowering an oxygen line into the pit before attempting any extraction, giving the animal inside the best possible chance of surviving the sudden change in air pressure and environment. The dog they eventually lifted out was a male, medium-sized, impossible to age from appearance alone. He was barely conscious. His ribs were visible through his coat. His eyes were open but unfocused, processing light for what may have been the first time in days. At the Millbrook Veterinary Hospital, Dr. Simone Harris had seen animals in serious condition before. What she saw on that examination table was different: severe dehydration, early organ failure, a core body temperature so low it sat at the outer edge of survivable range. The dog had no microchip, no collar, no identifying information of any kind. He had no name, he had no history, he had nothing except the fact that he was, against every medical probability, still breathing. Here is what the science tells us about why. When a dog is subjected to extreme confinement, darkness, and oxygen deprivation, its body does something remarkable. The nervous system initiates a survival shutdown. Heart rate drops, metabolic function slows, and the body redirects every available resource to protecting the brain and core organs. It is the same mechanism that allows certain animals to survive hibernation, and in extreme stress situations, it can buy a dog hours, sometimes days, beyond what any rational medical estimate would predict. The dog in that pit should not have been alive. His own biology had decided otherwise. The veterinary staff named him Chance. It was not a sentimental choice. It was simply the most accurate word for what had happened. In the days that followed, while Chance was stabilized and slowly rebuilt his strength under Dr. Harris's care, Detective Samantha Reyes opened a criminal investigation into the site. What she uncovered in the weeks that followed was not an accident. The concrete above that pit had been poured deliberately after the construction project was already shut down. A former security guard came forward with a statement. He had been on site the day the project closed. He had seen the site's former manager, a man named Jack Pruitt, drag a dog into the unfinished building shortly before the final pour was ordered. By the time the investigation reached that conclusion, Jack Pruitt was gone. No forwarding address, no active accounts, nothing. The case remained open. Chance recovered fully. It took 6 weeks. The first sign that he was going to make it came on day 4, when he lifted his head on his own and accepted water from Lily, one of the overnight nurses who had barely left his side since he arrived. The staff kept waiting for someone to claim him. Nobody did. On the morning he was cleared for release, Dr. Harris carried him outside and set him down on the grass in front of the clinic. Chance stood still for a moment, adjusting to the ground under his feet, the open air, the light. Then he took 3 slow steps forward, dropped his nose to the grass, and stood there in the sun with his eyes closed. Nobody on the staff could explain exactly how long he had been in that pit. The medical evidence suggested days, possibly longer. Long enough that the answer ultimately didn't matter as much as the fact that he had come out of it. He was adopted 3 weeks later by Ethan, the 22-year-old rookie who had stopped his jackhammer and pressed his ear to the concrete on a Tuesday morning when every instinct around him said to keep working. Chance sleeps inside now. He does not like small spaces. He does not like the dark. He does, however, like the sun. Every morning, without fail, he finds the warmest patch of light in the house and lies in it until it moves.
If this real story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to ANIMORA for more incredible animal stories. Because sometimes the most powerful stories come from the animal world.